Hey everybody, this is Perch. Well, let's talk about Netflix. Several of you did mail me saying that. Here's one mail that represents a lot of it. It says, "Hey Perch, not an insider, but my 2 cents on a Netflix Warner Brothers deal. A return to physical media with DVD steelbooks and soundtracks, and thus comics, is very possible. But the dominoes I think are very possible is that Paramount Skydance partners with Disney to bring new tech, AI, VR into the theme parks and also provide Disney Plus Hulu with shows, which leaves Comcast, Universal picking up one or all AMC Network, Crunchyroll, Sony to get a streamer with horror franchise and anime. If Netflix does lead for a change in a return to physical media and collectibles, they may force others to do the same. And there may be some momentum to grow the hobby and channels, which could mean all my Chromium Turok number ones could finally be a good investment. Happy holidays to you too. This mail represents, I would say, not the most mails that I got. The more common comment that I got was that this was going to end all physical media because Netflix is clearly going to end all physical products and be only digital. Now, before I get into the deal, I just want to draw your attention to something, and that is go to a Walmart or a Target and take a look at how much shit Netflix is producing, licensing, putting out. Um, I mean this in the nicest possible way. Netflix are kind of whores for money, and I think the idea that Netflix is going to end all physical media that does not equate to what you can see with your own eyes if you go into a store. Netflix actually is a lot less likely to end all physical media compared to some of the others, like Paramount. Paramount in particular. I mean, some of these companies are all in and going hard at at digital only. You cannot. They're actually pulling physical distribution of some of their products. I think there are studios that are doing that. Netflix is not one of them. Netflix, if anything, is more of a physical media company. I don't know. I mean, I just you see it with your own eyes and look at it, the tax returns. I don't think annual reports and such. I don't think that Netflix being the harbinger of a digital only and nothing but digital future is exactly on point for what we currently see. I get it. They're streaming first, but that's not even true either because their origins were mailing you a DVD in the mail. Something that was a stopgap to ultimately taking out Blockbuster. But can we stop with the nostalgia for Blockbuster already? I'm watching all these people on social media be like, I knew it was all downhill when Blockbuster went away. We never should have let that happen. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Did you really you enjoyed the process of driving across town? Maybe it was going to be in, maybe it wasn't. Some teenager is going to yell at you for not rewinding your videotape. Like, that's the world you want to go back to? Oh, fuck no. No, thank you. That's just crazy talk, is what that is. But anyway, um, moving past that, this Netflix deal. Again, by the time this video comes out, who knows what will happen? This is just announced this morning. My bet is that this Netflix deal is not going to go through. I say that because the odds are either Paramount or Universal suing because they were far along in the negotiations. This is a big deal. There is consolidation happening with entertainment. They're not going to go quietly. They still have the option of doing a direct to shareholder type bid. This is what's commonly known as a quote unquote hostile takeover. I would not be surprised if one or the other attempted this. It's still going to go through regulation. Now, I don't get the sense that the Trump department is super antitrust centered, but I believe, Trump isn't the biggest fan of some of Netflix and what they do. So I would expect maybe there'd at least be some noise coming there. But the more likely scenario is Netflix is so over leveraged by ponying up $82 billion to pay for this thing. I mean, and on top of that, you do have an issue where, things like some of the properties that WB currently holds, they own outright, like DC. Some like Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling still has a ton of control. And upon change of control, this is basically change of control is a term for when one company buys another. It's called a change of ownership or a change of control. Some of those deals get back in play. And so I think if you're thinking you're buying WB and you're getting the Harry Potter license, well, I mean, don't hold your horses. It may not go that way. So if this drags on into a legal fight and it starts to look like it may not happen or any of that other kind of stuff, then I would expect Netflix will bow out. I mean, there's plenty of deals where people state their intention and then it just gets to be too expensive. And can Netflix afford for it to go to 95? I mean, or it just there's a lot of points between here and there. I think for DC Comics, that's where a lot of people are talking. Um, number one, this isn't going to have an immediate impact, meaning you've got a long time before any kind of deal closes. I saw what somebody, I want to say Bleeding Cool, but I don't think that's it. I don't want to beat up on him for everything, but somebody was speculating that this would be a done deal by summer of 26, and those people are high. There's no way it's going to move that fast with everything in play. My guess is, for the foreseeable future, it's business as usual for DC. That's most likely what's going to happen. What I think is damaging about that is business as usual for these comic companies has been a little bit of the inmates have been running the asylum, and editors don't get back to people, and DC does have some good momentum right now with some of their initiatives and everything. But if you now put the specter of a change of control or a new owner over their heads and say, who knows, then I just think that's the odds are that people slow deeper into paralysis, and I think that's a bad thing. So if suddenly, the people at DC Comics treat it like, well, I'm not sure I'm going to have a job for a year, so I'm just going to kind of, maintain the status quo and not really put myself out there and don't take any risks, but just kind of put comics out. We don't need comics to be in that zone. I think that's what you see with Marvel. Marvel's very much in I don't know what's going to happen, so, we'll just keep kind of gently rowing in one direction, not roaring. So I think that we need these comic companies to be hustling and pushing. And I think change of control or any kind of ownership uncertainty, particularly if we get into a legal fight and this drags out a couple of years, I think that's net negative to DC. And I just, they need certainty. They need a mandate to go. Some have speculated that, hey, Mark Millar Mark Miller was behind this whole thing and he's now the new owner of DC. No, I think, again, what's in it for Mark? I mean, yeah, you never know. I mean, but no, I think that's a little unlikely. I mean, Mark's on good terms with Netflix, so maybe they put him in control there. I have no idea, but I tend to doubt it. I think, again, more likely, it's business as usual for the foreseeable future. I think that's more of what we're in for. And to me, that's business as usual is the opposite of what people are predicting. People are predicting, the sky's about to fall and catastrophe and it's a disaster and everything is wrecked. Those are the videos I'm seeing. Or, in the words of one guy, everything will be gay and black now is what I saw one guy just ranting and screaming into the world, which yikes is all I mean. If you find yourself writing everything is going to be gay and black, and you're not making a joke and you say it like 20 times, seriously, get your head examined. Like that's what are you doing? But anyway, please don't be the guy in the comments who's like, yeah, but Batman is going to be gay. But no, fuck, stop it. Just stop it. Just don't be that person. Come on. Anyway, the most likely scenario is the exact opposite of dramatic change. The most likely scenario is no change, and no change to me is in many cases the risk. I think the status quo, or being owned by a big ownership, and we've seen how that works out for Marvel, and the lack of spirit and kind of fighting momentum to want to do things. I think that's been harmful. So the last thing I would want is for that to be wished on for DC. So whoever's there and whoever's writing the show, do the opposite of the normal. The normal is, just take your hands off the wheel and coast until you have more certainty about your future. Do the opposite. Be bold, take risks, be like the heroes, and make the most out of this moment. That's what I would want to have happen. So that's my take on Netflix. We'll see what happens. By all means, let me know what you think will happen in the comments below. Like, subscribe, tell me I'm a shill for. I'm not sure which shill I'd be for this, but I'm sure some of you can figure that out. And thanks for listening.